Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So, we completed the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita up to the 19th shloka, 18th shloka. In these 18 shlokas, we have seen Krishna describing the characteristics of the three material modes. In the first two shlokas, Krishna describes the glories of the knowledge that he is going to reveal in this chapter. By developing knowledge of material modes, one will be inspired to come out of the influence of material modes. Thus, by applying oneself to the whole process of bhakti yoga, one can transcend the material modes. And in the third and fourth slokas, Krishna describes how this jiva, the spirit soul, comes in contact with Prakriti that has the three modes. Okay. These three modes are the three modes of material nature. And how does the jiva come in contact with the material nature itself? That Krishna describes in the third and fourth slokas. Krishna is the seed-giving father of all living entities. Because the living entities want to enjoy separately from Krishna, they are injected by Krishna into the womb of the material nature. Thus they come in touch with these material modes. And how do these material modes bind the living entities? Krishna describes from 5th shloka to 9th shloka. He says, when Sattva Guna binds a person, the bondage is with the happiness and knowledge. And Rajoguna binds a person to fruitive activities. And Tamoguna binds a person to madness, laziness and ignorance. Okay. And these three modes do not exist purely in a person. Every person is influenced by a combination of modes, and one mode is more prominent than the other two modes. They keep fighting for prominence. When mode of goodness is prominent, then all the 9 gates are illuminated with knowledge and happiness. We discussed it yesterday very elaborately. And when mode of passion increases, the symptoms of greed, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, they will increase. And when mode of ignorance increases, there is darkness, there is inertia, there is laziness, madness, illusion. So these are the symptoms that are exhibited by a person who is predominantly in certain mode. And we also discussed what is the destination after death when someone dies in one of these three modes. We also discussed what are the results of the actions which are performed under the three modes. So after discussing a little bit about the influence of material modes on the jivas, Krishna in the last section of this chapter is describing how to transcend the material modes, how to become a gunatita. Basically, he is giving knowledge in this section about modes. Knowledge stresses discrimination. When you have knowledge, you should have the discriminatory power to understand what is good and what is bad, and accept good and reject bad. Okay, so knowledge about things will develop a discriminatory power in you, and discrimination ultimately leads to appreciate that I am not the body. Okay, I am soul, and Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and I should take shelter of Krishna to come out of the modes. Now, you have knowledge of matter and spirit. You know matter is temporary and spirit is permanent. The material body is temporary, spirit soul is permanent. So thus you develop knowledge about matter and spirit. And after that, what is the next step? The next step is we should develop attachment to spirit and develop detachment from matter. And this attachment and detachment are simultaneously developed most effectively through bhakti yoga. Okay, so knowledge ultimately should lead us to bhakti. Jnana should lead to bhakti. Jnana is knowledge of matter and spirit. And if you develop knowledge of matter and spirit, you should also be inspired to become attached to spirit and detached from matter. And that process is Bhakti Yoga. Okay. So the Jnana path ultimately culminates in Bhakti path. 19th shloka. Nanyam gunebhyah kartaram yada drishta nupashyati gunebhyascha param vetti madbhavam sodhigacchati. Nanyam gunebhyah kartaram yada drishta nupashyati. When one sees that there is no other performer of actions than the material modes, na anyam gunebhyah kartaram. Karta means performer of actions, the doer. Okay. Nanyam gunebhyah, there is no one other than the material modes. Like they are the doers of the activities. Who is the doer? None other than the material modes. So yada drashtanupashyati, such a person is the real seer. One who sees that the real performer of all the actions in this world are the modes, material modes. You saw that painting where some people are controlled by three ladies, right? They are just pulling the strings like this, okay, ropes. So they are the three material modes. They are making the people function in different ways. Yeah, that picture, correct. And ultimately Krishna is the controller. Okay. So gunebhyascha param vetti madbhavam sodhigacchati. So such a person knows that the Supreme Lord and even the Jiva also is transcendental to material modes. Gunebhyascha param vetti. The Jiva is transcendental to modes, ultimately. And Krishna is always transcendental to modes. But Krishna never comes under the influence of modes, but Jiva comes under the influence of modes. Although Jiva is spiritual, the Jiva is spirit soul. The modes are material modes. So matter is overwhelming spirit now, which is a very unnatural and unfortunate state. But one can come out of that state by becoming gunatita, by taking shelter of Bhakti Yoga. So madbhavam sodhigacchati, one who knows that the Supreme Lord and the Jiva both are beyond the material modes, such a person can attain the spiritual nature, crossing over this material existence. Okay. So that is the meaning of this 19th shloka. Prabhupada writes in the purport. One can transcend all the activities of the modes of material nature simply by understanding them properly, by learning from proper souls. Means those who are knowledgeable about these topics, they should impart that knowledge. The real spiritual master is Krishna. Otherwise, one's life will be misdirected if we don't take shelter of Guru and Krishna and Shastra, of course. Because a bona fide spiritual master can see things as they are and he can impart that knowledge on people. And by following that knowledge, by following the process given by bona fide spiritual master, here Krishna is directly acting as spiritual master and one can transcend the material modes. Okay. So for one who is able to see things as they are, the influence of material energy gradually ceases. So it's already mentioned in the 7th chapter that one who surrenders to Krishna is relieved from the activities of material nature. So, Devi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. This Maya is very difficult to surpass because Maya has these three modes. So the three modes of material nature are extremely difficult to surpass, but one who takes shelter of Krishna can easily cross over their influence. So further Krishna describes the topic of surpassing the modes. 20th shloka. Gunanetan atityatrin dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkhair vimukto amritamashnute. So gunan etan atityatrin. 3 is 3. Number 3. Gunan etan atitya, transcending. So you should become a atita. What atita? Gunatita. Trigunatita. You should transcend the material modes. Dehi deha samudbhavan. all the embodied beings who are associating with material bodies, they have a chance to transcend this material modes. Okay. Janma mrityu jara dukkhair vimukto amrutam ashnute. Now, if you can surpass the material modes that are associated with the material body, which actually produce the material body, then you can be freed from janma, mrityu, jara, dukkha. Janma is birth, mrityu is death, jara is old age, dukkha is all kinds of material distresses during this lifetime. Vimukto amritam ashnute. You will be relieved from these four things and you will attain amritatva, that is liberation. So only when you surpass the influence of the three material modes, you will be relieved from all these distresses. Generally, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi is spoken. Here, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Dukkha is mentioned. That Dukkha includes Vyadhi also and many other Dukkhas also. So, this is like a more all-encompassing, description of the four problems. So, Prabhupada writes in the purport, how can one stay in the transcendental position, even in this body, in full Krishna consciousness, is explained in this verse. The Sanskrit word Dehi is embodied. Although one is within this material body, by his advancement in spiritual knowledge, he can be freed from the influence of material modes. So one should cultivate knowledge of all these modes. If one is just passing on in one's life, experiencing the inevitable happiness and distress, all kinds of dualities under the influence of material modes, without contemplating, without reflecting, without analyzing, without taking shelter of a proper teacher or guru who can explain things as they are, then the human life is getting wasted. Utilize your human life, utilize your advanced intelligence to learn from realized souls about how things are functioning in this world, and then develop an inspiration to come out of it. So, if a person who is in the prison cell is just happy eating the food that is given and whatever punishments the people are giving, he will take, and then he will continue in his own style, then he will not be able to come out of the prison cell. So, he should cultivate the right attitude. Prison cell is meant to rectify the criminal mentality of people. And if they show some improvement in their character, definitely they will be released from the jail even before their tenure is finished only. Okay, sometimes it happens. So we need to understand that we have an opportunity to come out of this material realm, come out of the influence of material modes. But that happens if you develop knowledge about how this material modes are working, and we should not stop at knowledge only. Some people stop at knowledge. They analyze things and they are happy, intellectually satisfied. They should do something also. After developing knowledge that matter is temporary, spirit is permanent, so I am not body, I am soul. After developing this knowledge, you should next ask, as a soul, what is my duty? So I know what are my bodily activities. I have to eat 3 times, I have to evacuate, I have to sleep. So all the necessities of the body more or less are known to you. Okay, and you are anyways doing it. But when you understand that you are not this body, you are soul, then you should inquire, what are my activities as a soul? As a soul, you are supposed to be doing Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasivanam, etc. As a soul, your responsibilities, your eternal duties are hearing about Krishna, speaking about Krishna, chanting his names, rendering service to Krishna. These are your eternal engagements. As a body, as a man or a woman or an Indian or an American or a male or female, whatever, you have different duties. They are all temporary duties. All of them are duties within one lifetime. So in this lifetime, you are born, say, in India as a man, in Maharashtra or in Mumbai, and then we have certain duties to perform in this life. Next life, where will you take birth? We don't know. You may take birth in Australia. You may not be a human being also. You may not be a man, you could be a woman. Okay, or you may be a demigod, you may be a devata in the heavenly planets. Okay, so, but then the activities are different. So we are identifying ourselves with these bodies and we are doing so many duties, considering oneself to be bodies. But once you understand from Bhagavad Gita, from other scriptures, that you are not the body, you are soul, you should immediately inquire, what are my activities as soul? Then you will be told, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, etc. Then you engage in those activities while living in this material body. Means you are acting on the platform of soul instead of acting on the platform of body. You need to acknowledge the needs of the body. That's happening in the background. But you are also acting on the level of soul. So that will give us the opportunity to go back to Godhead. Okay. So next, after Krishna spoke like this, Arjuna asked some questions. Question 1, 25, verse number 21. Arjuna uvacha Kairlingai strin gunan etan Atito bhavati prabho Kimacharaha katham chaitams Trin gunan ativartate Kairlingai strin gunan etan. Here Arjuna is asking 3 questions about this topic. What is the topic? How to become a gunatita. How to transcend the material modes. Okay. So, a person who transcends the material modes, what are his symptoms? First question is, Kairlingai strin gunan etan atito bhavati prabho. If a person has transcended these material modes, what are his symptoms? How do you understand that a person has transcended the modes? First question. Answer is given in the 22nd shloka. And second question, Kim acharaha katham chaitams? He is asking, what is the behavior of a person who has transcended the modes? That answer is given in 23rd to 25th shlokas. Then third question of Arjuna, Trin gunan ativartate. What is the process of transcending the modes? Okay. 26th verse, Krishna says. Total 3 questions. A person who transcends the material modes is called gunatita. Okay. Arjuna asks questions. First question, what are the symptoms of a gunatita? Second question, what is the behavior of a gunatita? Third question, how to become a gunatita? So Arjuna asked similar questions in the second chapter also. The second chapter, Arjuna says, 54th, he says, what are the symptoms of sthita prajna? How does he walk, how does he sit and all that. So that sthita prajna and this gunatita, they are same in one sense. So a person who has transcended the modes is sthita prajna, is fixed up in his knowledge. So Arjuna, when he asked these 3 questions, Krishna answers them from the 22nd verse onwards. 22nd shloka. Shri Bhagavan uvacha Prakasham cha pravrittim cha Mohameva cha pandava Nadveshti sampravrittani Nanivartani kankshati. The 22nd shloka, the Lord is saying, Krishna is saying, the symptoms of a person who has transcended the material modes, the symptoms of a gunatita. Prakasham cha pravrittim cha. Prakasham is illumination. Pravritti is attachment. Moham eva cha pandava. Moham is illusion or delusion. Na dveshti sampravrittani, na nivrittani kankshati. So, a gunatita or a person who has transcended the modes, he does not hate illumination, attachment or delusion when they are present, or long for them when they disappear. Now this illumination is a symptom of what? Mode of goodness. This attachment is a symptom of mode of passion. And this delusion is a symptom of ignorance. Okay, tamoguna. So prakasha, pravritti, moha. These 3 are the products of sattva, raja and tamogunas. So when prakasha, pravritti and moha are present, the gunatita person, the person who has transcended the material modes, such a person, when they are present, he doesn't hate them. When they're absent, he doesn't long for them. Means this illumination, attachment and delusion are there. The Gunatita has nothing to do about them. Okay? He doesn't bother about them. Whether they exist or don't exist, it doesn't make any difference to this Gunatita. Means he is not attached to illumination. He is not attached to the whole attachment concept. He is not attached to delusion. Okay? He is indifferent to them. He is Gunatita, right? You have nothing to do with them. These are the symptoms of a person. Means he doesn't exhibit so much of attachment. He is not subjected to so much of delusion. And he is not so much attached to illumination also. Okay, like that. So what is his behavior? Krishna continues. Udasina vadasino gunairyo na vichalyate gunavartanta ityevam yovatisthati nengate. Krishna says, Udasina vadasino. He will sit as if he is udasin, neutral. He is neutral. Gunairyo na vichalyate. Vichalyate means getting perturbed, getting disturbed, getting agitated. Na vichalyate. So a devotee who has transcended the modes is number one, udasina, neutral. Number two, undisturbed by the reactions of modes. Gunair na vichalyate. So knowing that the modes alone are active. See, guna vartanta ityevam yovatisthati nengate. So he knows modes are active always. Okay, I should not be disturbed by the reactions of modes. They are active, they are doing their things. Let them do their things. I will not be affected by it. Next. Samadukha sukha swastha samaloshrasma kanchana tulya priya priyo dhira tulya nindatma samstuti. Krishna says, Samadukha sukha swastha. Sama means equal. To what? Sukha and dukkha. He is very equipoised in happiness and distress. That is the first symptom in this sloka. Swastha means he is firmly situated in himself. Means he is rooted in his original constitutional position, which is beyond the material modes. Samaloshrasma kanchanaha. Lostra is a lump of matter. He sees a lump of earth, a stone. Kanchana is gold. Okay, he sees all of them similar. Sama lostra asma kanchanaha. Whether you give him a stone or little mud or a like big gold, golden ball, biscuit, whatever, he sees them equally. He is not attached to anything. Okay. Then tulya priya priyo dhiraha. Tulya priya and apriya. He is equal to dear things and non-dear things. He doesn't hold anything dear or undear. So he is neutral to everything. So basically his neutrality or equanimity is explained with multiple examples. Okay, all these are coming under one quality of equanimity or equal vision only, neutrality only. Next is dhiraha. He is very steady, composed, sober. Tulya nindatma samstutihi. Tulya ninda atma samstuti. Ninda is criticism. Atma samstuti is praise. So whether he is praised or blamed, he is not affected by it. Okay. Next sloka. Manapamana yostulyaham tulyo maitri mitra ripakshayoh sarvarambha parityagi gunatitah sa uchyate. Manapamanayoh tulyah. Man and apman, insult and honor, he sees them equally. Tulyo mitra aripakshayoh. Mitra is friends, aripaksha means enemy party. He sees them also same. Sarvarambha parityagi. He is renouncing all material activities. Sarva arambha parityagi means he is renounced from all kinds of material endeavors. Gunatitah sa uchyate. Such a person is called Gunatita, or a person who has transcended the influence of material modes. Okay, these are various qualities of a person who is beyond the material modes. So Krishna has described the symptoms and behaviors of Gunatita. Now, he does not have any envy, no hankering, no hatred. The qualities of the material modes in the body will act, but a spirit soul, as spirit soul, the self is aloof from such activities. How does he become aloof? He does not desire to enjoy the body, nor does he desire to get out of it. He is neutral. Okay. So, Krishna answered 2 questions of Arjuna. What was the third question?
And the process, how to...
What is the process of transcending modes? So you understand, when a person transcends the modes, these are his qualities. How to attain these qualities? Krishna describes in the 26th shloka. Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. If you do seva, if you perform devotional service unto the Supreme Lord through bhakti yoga, then that is avyabhicharini bhakti, means without any deviation. It is unalloyed devotional service. In all circumstances you perform bhakti, not that you perform bhakti once in a while and other times you take a break and do something else. So when there is avyabhicharini bhakti, means unalloyed, pure, undeviated devotional service in all circumstances without any motivations. Sagunan samatityaitan. Such a person can easily transcend the influence of material modes. Sagunan samatityaitan. Samatityaitan means you completely transcend the influence. And Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. He comes to the level of Brahman. Now Krishna is speaking about avyabhicharani bhakti, unalloyed, pure bhakti. By doing pure bhakti, how can you attain Brahman? You should attain Krishna, right? Why Brahma bhuyaya kalpate? He comes to the level of Brahman. Means Brahman is spiritual state. So he just realizes his spiritual state. Or another perspective, he comes to the level of Brahman could mean that he will attain Brahman realization, not Krishna realization, not Bhagavan realization. One may think like that. But here, this Brahma bhuyaya kalpate is not the ultimate realization of an Ananya Bhakta. It's a byproduct realization. So now Krishna says, modes are here. You transcended the modes and came to spiritual plane. That's the immediate stage. But this will not, and you have, how did you transcend? By performing bhakti. So by performing bhakti, you don't just come to the level of spiritual plane or Brahman realization, you can get much more than this also. But here the discussion is about transcending the modes. You came out of the material plane and came to the spiritual plane. Krishna said that much only. But bhakti can give you much more than that. It can give you Bhagavan realization. Okay? And a part of it, a byproduct of it is Brahman realization also. Means Brahman is what? The effulgence of the Supreme Lord Krishna. And if you have a direct relationship with Krishna, you are interacting with Krishna face to face, effulgence is right there. So Brahman realization is included in Bhagavan realization. But only Brahman realization is mentioned. For example, in the 6th canto, 1st chapter, Parikshit Maharaj asked, how can the people be saved from entering hellish conditions? You remember this? 6th canto, 1st chapter, Bhagavatam. How people can be saved from entering hellish conditions? Because in the 5th canto ending, Sukadeva Goswami spoke about so many hellish planets and Parikshit became so concerned. Arey, I don't want the people, the humanity to enter this hellish planet. How can they be saved? Then Sukadeva Goswami gave answers. First he gave karmakandic atonement, which Parikshit said, no, it is like an elephant bath, it is useless. Even if a person performs atonement also, later he will again perform sinful activity. Atonement may at the max relieve you from sinful reaction, but not the sinful propensity. So I don't accept this. Okay, he rejected it. Then he presented Jnana Kanda, that also Parikshit was not excited. Then finally he presented Bhakti Yoga. Now in his proposal of Bhakti Yoga, Sukadeva Goswami says, Sakran Manaha Krishna Padara Vindayor Niveshitam Yad Gunaragi Yairiha Nate Yamam pasha bhritascha tadbhatan swapnepi pashyanti hi charana nishkritaha. If you perform bhakti yoga, if you chant the holy names of the Supreme Lord Krishna, then you will not enter hell. What does it mean? You perform bhakti unto Krishna or you chant the holy names of Krishna just to protect yourself from entering hell? Not entering hell is an insignificant byproduct of bhakti or chanting of the holy names. By chanting the holy names of Krishna, you can attain Krishna. You can develop love of Godhead. Tunde tandavini ratim vitanute tundavali labdhaye karna krodaka dambini ghatayate karnarbhute haspraham. You know that, right? Cheta prangana sangini vijayate sarvendriyanam kritim no jane janita kiyad bhiramurtaihi krishteti varanadvayi. We have seen that holy name of Krishna can give you such ecstasy that just by chanting the holy names of Krishna, you feel like having millions of tongues, millions of ears, and all your senses become inert. Your heart is completely absorbed in the chanting of the holy name. You experience love of Godhead. So chanting of the holy name can take you to the spiritual world, the highest planet in the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan. But here Sukadeva Goswami says, by chanting the holy names, you need not enter the hell. So, not entering hell is an insignificant byproduct, but according to that context, he highlighted that point only. Fine. But holy name can give much more than that. Similarly, here also, Mamchayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. So, if you do avyabhicharani bhakti, means if you do pure unalloyed devotional service under all circumstances, Brahma bhuyaya kalpate, you attain the level of Brahman. But Brahman realization is not the only thing that you get by unalloyed bhakti. You get much more. Is it clear? So, one should not be confused that, oh, Krishna is saying that by doing bhakti you attain Brahman realization. Okay. So that's why Krishna doesn't stop this chapter in the 26th shloka only. He speaks 27th shloka also. Okay. There, in the 27th shloka, Krishna describes that I am the source of that Brahman. You see this. Brahmano hi pratisthaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya ikantikasya cha Brahmano hi pratishtha aham. In the previous shloka, Krishna said Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. By doing unalloyed bhakti, you will attain the state of Brahman. You will attain Brahman realization. It seems so, apparently. But Brahmano hi pratishtha aham. I am the source of that Brahman. I am the foundation of the Brahman. I am the basis of Brahman. Without me, that Brahman effulgence cannot exist. So ultimately, you will attain Krishna. So, I am the basis or shelter of impersonal Brahman, which is Amritasya, immortal, Avyaya, imperishable, Shashvata, eternal, Dharmasya, that is the constitutional position, or Sukhasya, Aikantikasya cha. It is the platform of ultimate transcendental bliss. So like that he gave the qualities of Brahman, but he established himself as the source of Brahman. So by performing unalloyed bhakti, you attain Krishna. So this is, there is like, Jnana section is there. So lot of knowledge is spoken. So many Jnanis, they aspire for Brahman. Okay. So transcending the modes and attaining Brahman realization is appealing to them. But you don't get only Brahman realization by performing unalloyed bhakti. You will attain Krishna. In that Bhagavan realization, this Brahman realization is also included. Because that Brahman cannot exist without Krishna. So Krishna very clearly indicated here that it is me who is the source of Brahman. Why are you attached to Brahman? You be attached to me. Why do you want to realize only Brahman? By performing Avyabhicharani Bhakti, you come to me. So an intelligent person, by reading these two slokas, he will not aspire for Brahman realization. He will aspire for Bhagavan realization. And Krishna is also not indicating that by performing unalloyed bhakti unto me, Mam chayo avyabhicharana, he said very clearly. So 26th shloka first line says, Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena. very clear terms. Mam means me. Perform bhakti yoga without any alloy, avyabhicharini, without any deviation or tinges of other mixtures like karma, gnana, yoga. If you do that, you will attain Brahman realization. No, that I am the foundation of that Brahman, so you will attain me. Okay. So when one has attained the level of Brahman, that is freedom from contamination of material modes, he comes to a qualified stage to engage in bhakti or devotional service of Parabrahman. Okay. And that Parabrahman is Krishna. Krishna is the basis of the eternal process of bhakti that gives the realization of personality of Krishna. Both Brahman and Paramatma are within Krishna. Paramatma is a partial representation of Krishna. Brahman is the effulgence of Krishna. So, thus the realization of Brahman or eternity is included in bhakti unto Krishna and is already possessed by a devotee. And Krishna is also basis of the bliss of the unalloyed devotee. So, these two slokas should not confuse us. By performing bhakti, you don't attain Brahman realization. Of course, you will attain Brahman realization, but that attainment is a part of your realization of Bhagavan. If you purchase a phone, so the person may say, you will attain, you will also get phone cover also. Okay. If you purchase the phone, the cover is free. Okay. So something is highlighted that okay, you pay whatever 10,000 rupees and get a phone, 10,000 rupees, then you will get phone cover. No, you will get phone cover along with phone. Okay. So don't get excited. You may get excited with phone cover also, but phone is also there. That is main product. If they give you only phone cover without phone, what will you do with it? Okay. The cover is ultimately meant to be utilized in thing. The cover is designed according to the phone. So it's a byproduct. It's not the end product. So by performing unalloyed bhakti, attaining Krishna is the end product, and you have Brahman realization, Paramatma realization which are included in it. That's a byproduct. So we didn't discuss so much on the purports of 26 and 27. Let's see. Prabhupada writes in the purport. 26th purport, I am reading in the middle. One who is engaged in the service of any of the forms of Krishna, it is Rama or Narayana or Krishna or Varaha, Vasudeva, Narasimha, anything is fine, or his plenary expansions, he is considered to be transcendentally situated. One should also note that all forms of Krishna are fully transcendental, blissful, full of knowledge and eternal. Such personalities of Godhead are omnipotent and omnipresent, and they possess all transcendental qualities. One who surrenders unto Krishna at once surmounts the influence of modes of material nature. To be in Krishna consciousness or devotional service means to acquire equality with Krishna in quality. Bhakti Yoga means that the Lord is there, the devotee is there, the activity of exchange of love between the Lord and the devotee is also there. Bhakti Yoga indicates the performer of bhakti, the receiver of bhakti, and the process of bhakti. All three are there. Bhakti, Bhakta, Bhagavan. All three. Therefore, the individuality of two persons, the person who offers bhakti, the person who receives bhakti. Two. Bhakti is an exchange between two parties, Bhakta and Bhagavan. So, the 27th shloka, purport Prabhupada writes, the servant of the king enjoys on an almost equal level with the king, and so eternal happiness, imperishable happiness and eternal life accompany devotional service. Therefore, realization of Brahman or eternity or imperishability is included in devotional service. So that's how we completed the chapter. Fine? Any questions? So in this section, last section of this chapter, we have seen that the modes are the doers of all material activities, and the soul is transcendental, the super soul is also transcendental. And Arjuna, and one who can surpass these material modes, he can attain spiritual world, and he can experience immortality and nectar even within this one lifetime also. Okay. means he will not be affected by Janma, Mrityu, Jara and Dukkha. And Arjuna asked 3 questions. What are the symptoms of a Gunatita? What is the behavior of a Gunatita? And how to become Gunatita? So Krishna described the symptoms and behavior in various ways. He is Udasina, he is neutral, he does not hate or desire this illumination, attachment and illusion. So he is not attached to the products of the 3 material modes. And then how to transcend the material modes? By performing pure bhakti. Then you come to the level of Brahman. Ultimately you will realize Bhagavan also, and Brahma realization is a part of it. So we completed 14th chapter. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.